I think this concept in the music producer community of chasing placements comes with a bit of, unfortunately, delusion. They don't want to have to go through the trial and error. They don't want to have to learn from doing, because it's a lot of hoping that the music part is going to relieve you from having to have a 9 to 5 or something like that, something that you don't want to do. Bryson Tiller was recommended to quit his job by Timbaland. I made a post on the Ultra TV Clips page, and I asked, how many of y'all make music and beats solely for the love and aren't chasing placements and accolades? I'm getting the impression that some of us in the producer community only care about the money and the fame. We're looking for people on YouTube that can fast track us towards our goal of landing placements and living off music. I also get the impression that some of us feel hopeless with the changing tide of music industry and are now shifting focus to other areas of life beyond music production. Is that really where the community is? Let me know in the comments. And you guys definitely let me know in the comments. So I appreciate y'all that have let me know. There were some very interesting posts. A lot of people got involved, and I appreciate everybody that got involved with the conversation. Shout out to BusyWorks Beats. Shout out to Sun Civil Media. Shout out to William Illington. BusyWorks Beats kind of laid it on in a way where I can understand where he's coming from for sure. BusyWorks Beats said, most people want a lottery ticket called a placement and to be around the cool kids. They don't care to learn or actually become better, unfortunately. I hear where BusyWorks is coming from, because I too have called the concept of placements a lottery ticket, because it is a lottery ticket. The thing about lottery tickets is that you can win the lottery and still not be set for life, because people look at it like, if I just get this one placement, then I'm set. I'll be able to like collect good royalties, and then I'll be able to live off of music. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, you can win the lottery and it not be like the jackpot. See, some of y'all are looking to win the jackpot, like the mega millions jackpot, you know, when they get up to like that 300, 500 mil, y'all looking for that. You can win a lottery ticket and it'll be enough to get you some more lottery tickets. You know, you can win a lottery and it'd be enough to buy some dinner. You can win the lottery and it'd be enough to maybe get you through a month of your bills. So just because you win the lottery doesn't mean that you're set for life. And the same thing is true with placements. I know plenty of people that got placements that still sleeping on people's couches, still struggling to make payments on their bills, that are still a check away from poverty. And I know people that have gotten placements where it is enough to pay some bills, and then they're still kind of like running to the next placement because it's not enough to set them up forever. Very rarely does a person get a project or a song or something that allows them to be set for life. That's an outlier. It's called an outlier, and it's not the normal thing that happens with music. You can have a successful song that doesn't set you up for life. For those that have been blessed with having a mega hit that has had cultural impact and can get licensed and upon license, that's a blessing. But that's not what everybody's gonna get when they get a placement or when they make a song, for that matter. It just doesn't work like that. I think this concept in the music producer community of chasing placements comes with a bit of, unfortunately, delusion, because it's a lot of hoping that the music part is going to relieve you from having to have a 9 to 5 or something like that, something that you don't want to do. I think that's really what it comes down to, is people are hoping that something good happens with their music that allows them to leave their job. Man, let me tell you about leaving your job. Bryson Tiller was recommended to quit his job by Timbaland after hearing one of his songs.
That song, and I got a call from Rich, and he was like, "Yo, Timbo, want to holler at you. I was in a movie theater. I just had to get off an argument with my girl at the time, and I was down bad." He was like, "Yo, quit, quit your job, whatever." Well, actually, I told him, I was like, "Yo, I can't come to Miami because I got to work." He said, "This is work," and I was like, "Well, what you saying? You saying like I should quit my job or something?" He was like, "Yeah."
So Timbaland gets on a phone call with Bryson Tiller and says, "Hey, I love what I'm hearing from you. You should quit your job and come out here and work with me. And Bryson Tiller's like, yo, this is Timbaland talking, right? So it's like, Timbaland is the GOAT. Like, if he's telling me let's work and he's telling me quit my job, I think I need to do that. It sounds like he trying to work. It sounds like he trying to do some business. So let me quit my job. Let's see how this progresses.
Like, yo, they was like, all right, man. Well,
yeah, I mean,
we wish you the best.
Well, where it is. That's hilarious.
So I was like, all right, cool. So yeah, I went down there and I recorded like maybe 3 or 4 songs from Trap Soul. And this ain't to like slight Timbaland or nothing at all, but like he wasn't really rocking with him too much like that. And he was like, yo, we need more songs like Don't. And I was just like, but I already got Don't. You know what I mean? I was like, I already got that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is, like I said, these are songs that made Trap Soul that I was playing on. And then
which ones didn't you like?
Sorry Not Sorry, Been That Way.
Was that like the 3rd single?
Yeah. It was a couple of them that he wasn't really rocking with. And then I got back home and then like he gave me like a little bit of cash. Whenever I got back home, and that cash was running out, and I was like, dang.
He said he got some cash from Timbaland. He started working with Timbaland, and then all of a sudden, Timbaland wasn't feeling where he was going creatively. So then he kind of separates a little bit from Timbaland, and then Timbaland starts to kind of play a different game with Bryson. And Bryson's like, hey, money's getting low. Remember what I just said about that lottery ticket, right? You can win a lottery ticket and it's not enough to be set for life. It could be enough to pay a bill. It could be enough to pay rent for a month, a couple months. But then he's like, yo, when am I going to get paid again? Money is kind of running low. I quit my job.
Oh, like, how does this work? Am I like signed right now? So I called him. I was like, yo, so like, when am I going to get my next payment?
You told me to quit my job. John, they pay me every 2 weeks.
Yeah. And then they was like, and my boy Rich was like, yo, Timbaland said he never told you to quit your job. And I was like, nah, God.
Hey, Tim, what you doing, dog? What's up, man? What you doing
out there? I was sick because of like
a lot of folks that are looking to get a placement are looking to get that signal to be able to quit their job. A placement, a cosign, and maybe a check, a decent size check from music, mind you. For many, a decent check from music is a couple $1,000, $5,000. But the reality of it is, like, is $5,000 enough to quit your job? I want to know, is $10,000 enough to quit your job? If somebody give you $10,000, is that enough to quit your job? Maybe if you're 17 years old, right? Maybe if you're 17 years old, somebody gave you $10,000, you might be like, that little part-time job I had, I'm gonna quit that. Listen, 10,000 just for doing one song, I could do plenty of these, and I don't have any responsibilities. I'm living with my mom. I don't have my own car. I don't have any responsibilities as a 17-year-old. So yeah, $10,000, I'll quit the little side hustle or side job or whatever part-time job I had working at the mall or working at McDonald's or whatever, $10,000 for an adult that has responsibilities, that has kids, that has rent, car note, man, don't happen to have student loan and other stuff. Just the regular adult bills, right? $10,000 ain't gonna last you that long. $10,000 ain't enough to quit a job. Bryson didn't say how much he got, but I'm imagining if he got $5,000, if he got $10,000, that's not gonna sustain you for life. But that's what a lot of folks are chasing, is this placement. They're chasing a placement where you might see $5,000, you might see listen, if you see $20,000, for the average adult, $20,000 is not enough to quit your job. If you have normal adult bills, you will run through that $20,000 pretty quickly. That's what a placement looks like. That's what this lottery ticket that Busy Works Beats was talking about looks like. I agree with them. I think that some of us are chasing this lottery ticket, and the reality is that lottery ticket, we're chasing the Mega Millions lottery ticket, if we're being honest. Like, a lot of us feel like if we get in the music game, we are gonna get the Mega Millions lottery ticket, and that's going to set us for life. The stats just don't align with that. There is a very, very low chance of any of us hitting that type of wealth from a song or from anything, because that's very rare. The average musician and producer doesn't make that kind of money from music. So I think a lot of us in the music production game, especially the ones that are chasing placements, kind of have this mentality. And it is actually ruining the way that we deal with our music and how we push with our music, because we're hoping that someone else has enough of an engine to push our music in a place where it will make the amount of money that is a life-changing or generational wealth-building event for us. So I agree with BusyWorks on that. The other thing I want to say to BusyWorks Beats' comment is that he also said something I think is even more compelling. He said that they want to be around the cool kids. Most music producers want to be around the cool kids. I think that's very compelling. There is perceived value in being around the cool kids, but oftentimes the cool kids are not the ones that are going to teach you. They're not the ones that are going to put you up on the real game and help you to level up your craft. They're not the ones that are gonna give you the tools, the techniques, and sit down with you and work with you and build you up. The cool kids are typically in competition for attention. They're in competition for admiration. The cool kid concept is really centered around something that I'm sure a lot of you guys experienced in middle school and high school especially. This competition for acceptance in the end. And a lot of people in the music producer community are in that competition. They're looking to be accepted by those that are considered cool, those that are considered desirable, however you want to look at it. The cool kids thing definitely creates a paradigm where a lot of us get caught up in not aligning with people that actually want to work with us in the end. What you'll find is a lot of cool kids tend to be very transactional, and they tend to be very much people that are energy drains. They will extract resources and anything else that they can extract from you and not pour into you. So a lot of the cool kids keep you there because maybe you have something that you can offer that they can take when they need. And also, like, what tends to also happen is, depending on your relationship with the cool kid, if you're not really close with the cool kid at any point can use you as a punching bag to make themselves look cooler in certain situations. Maybe pick at you, or maybe make fun of something you're doing, or make fun of what you have on, or whatever, just a little homie you, little bro you. So that cool kids thing is a real thing. People are, in the music industry especially, they're very much chasing the acceptance of the cool kids and don't realize that a lot of the cool kids don't really want to work with them, don't want to collaborate with them, are not trying to actually build them up, but they're trying to extract whatever they can. So they have a lot of people around them that they can extract from. And I thought that was a very compelling thing that Busy said there. He said they don't care to learn or actually become better, unfortunately. I don't know if I agree with that part. I think that people want to become better, and I think they do want to learn. I think the problem is people don't want to take the time to learn. They don't want to have to go through the trial and error. They don't want to have to learn from doing. They want to learn something quickly and apply it quickly and get the same result as the teacher that they learned from. That's unrealistic. That's unrealistic. You are still going to have to apply what you're doing a lot of times. You have to spend time on task to actually become a master. A lot of people don't want to work towards mastery. Just because you were taught something doesn't make you a master of it. I can teach you how to do something. You still have to spend the time to actually develop the skill set and the mastery. And that means you're gonna have to take some time, and you're gonna have to bump your head against the wall, and you're gonna have to make mistakes, and you're gonna have to experiment, and you're gonna have to do some type of iterations and variances of what I taught or what you've learned. And at some point later on, you become a master, but you don't immediately become a master just after learning something for 5 minutes. And I think the problem is a lot of people are conditioned now to want to quickly consume information so that they can go run out and go get the result that their teacher was getting. So that's why there's such a high demand for 5-minute tutorials, 10-minute tutorials. Like, dude, I mean, you can teach a high level aspect of a concept in 10 minutes. For sure. You know, all this whole like, I need to get the information in 5 minutes. If you don't give me the information in 5 minutes, I'm out. The problem is a lot of people have TikTok brain. They've gotten into this short form content, and all the short form content has really made it where it is impossible now for them to sit through a 50-minute lecture to learn something. And let me tell you something. If any of y'all went to university, you know, like, a lecture can be 50 minutes, it could be 70 minutes, and that's just one lecture. And you may have, over the course of a semester or a quarter or whatever, you may have 12, you may have 20, depending on how you're set up. You may have a lot of different lectures over the course of a semester or quarter. And then you still got to go home and do the actual homework to apply what was in the lecture. Somehow, people that are now on YouTube and social media kind of feel like it don't take all that. I just need a 5-minute video. I just need a 10-minute video. I don't need a lecture. I don't need context. I don't need any other examples. We don't need to walk through different ways of looking at the same concept. Just give me the high level concept. Give me the exact formula that I need to get a result, and then I will just reuse that same formula. That is not mastery. Matter of fact, that's not even learning the concept really. You're basically looking at a math problem and you see one iteration of that math problem and you're saying, okay, that's the math problem. So all I got to do is take that same math problem and I just do it again and I'm gonna get the same result. And it's like, yes, you will get the same result if all the variables and the constants are exactly the same. That same math problem, yes, if all the variables and constants are exactly the same and you're just gonna use the same formula, yes, you're gonna get the same result. But what if any of the variables or the constants are different in your circumstances? How do you solve the problem then? Do you know how to solve the problem, or do you just know how to copy the problem exactly as it was presented to you and get the same result? People are not looking to understand how to actually recreate or build off of concepts that they are learning from people that are teaching. People want to learn, but they just want ready-made, turnkey situations that allow them to quickly get the exact same result, and hopefully that result gets them the amount of money that they need to be able to live off of music. So that's delusional. Like I said, what Busy Works Beats said in this post was compelling to me because he hit on a lot of topics. Like I said, I don't agree that people don't want to learn. I think that people do want to learn. I think people have unrealistic expectations on what learning looks like and how quickly a message or a lesson should happen in the first place. The next comment I'm gonna get to is from Sun Civil Media. Shout out to my bro, Sun Civil. I appreciate you for providing this commentary. But he says, I gotta be honest, bro. Doing it for the love of it is for the birds. I love it, but I wanna make some money for something that I've been passionate about since I was a kid. Jerry Maguire, show me the money. I understand where Sun Civil's coming from with wanting to make money. And I always talk about, like, if you wanna make money in music or with anything really, but let's talk about the music part. If you want to make money with music, people will pay you for things that they cannot do, don't have the time to do, or don't have the desire to do. So you have to look at what are some things within music that people don't want to do right now, don't have time to do, don't have the ability to do. Not enough music producers really think about that part. And I think that's what keeps you from figuring out where the opportunity is. Because when you start talking about beats, a lot of people want to make beats. A lot of people can make beats. A lot of people have time to make beats. And a lot of people have the skill set now or the technology that enables them to do that quickly. When you have a situation like that, when there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of people that are interested in doing this thing, it creates a problem with demand, because that means that you got a lot of supply there and not necessarily enough demand to meet the supply. You need to figure out what it is that people need in the market. You need to find where there is an actual demand in the market, or there's an actual pain point or a deficit of either products or services or both in the market, and address that particular deficit. I think a lot of people that do beats and music production have this concept that because their music is so cool and it's so artistic and it's so great and it's so well produced and whatnot, that it should just sell for a good price and people should just want it just because of how dope it is. People want to make whatever they want to make in their home studio and then put it out there and say, somebody should buy that. Somebody should pay a lot of money for that too, because I put a lot of time in that. I put a lot of skill in that. I worked on that for a month or however long, and it's like the most pristine mix and it's the best recorded thing, and the musicianship is amazing, and it's all coming from my mind and my experiences, and people should pay good money for that. And that's where the delusion comes, because you're doing something for yourself and you're expecting other people to find enough value in that where they want to pay you a lot of money. And not once did you think about, what do the people actually need? The people that are looking to buy music right now, what do they actually need? What are they looking for specifically in this moment that they cannot find? So this is where you got to get to thinking about music from a different perspective now. Like, you got the skill set. If you put your work in as a music producer, you've acquired the skill set. You know how to compose music. You know how to put together sounds. You know how to pick the right sounds. You know how to build a composition that has the right dynamics, the right amount of transitions and things to tell a story over whatever period of time you need to tell that story sonically. You know how to do that. You know how to play music in a way that sounds legitimate and compelling to a listener's ear. You know how to do that. So now you have to look at, okay, I have the skill set. I know how to mix music the way that it needs to be heard or mixed so that it's consumable by a consumer audience. I know how to do that. Or if not, I know how to do that. I have the personnel or I have the network necessary to mix a song and bring it to broadcast ready standard. Now I need to figure out who needs the actual work done, who actually needs me to apply that skill set. And then you need to figure out what they actually need and use your skill set to supply the need in the end. Not enough people want to do that. Too many music producers think that they could just make whatever they want, whatever they love, and just somebody is supposed to pay a lot of money for it. So we got to get past that. We got to get past that and get to the actual business part. Now, I'm not saying you can't make what you love. Like, what you love to make, if there's a demand for it, that's amazing, because that means that you can go out there with the thing that you love to make, and there's people that just want that, and you should be able to get in front of that community or audience and sell that to them. But that's not often the case. Often the case that people have things that they need that you may not love, as far as like, it may not be your first choice in music. So then you have to make a decision. Are you going to take a gig that you don't love in music to actually start making money? Or are you going to continue to wait until you get a perfect opportunity that aligns with everything that you love, and there's no aspect of it that challenges you or pushes you in a direction that you don't normally go in? That's the major dilemma for the music producer, because it will happen. And I see it all the time. Music producers say, nah, I don't make that kind of music, or nah, I'm not really into that, or nah, that's not really my bag, or whatever. And then you don't capitalize on the opportunity to make money. So then you start complaining that nobody wants to buy music. But it's like, no, people want to buy music. People wanted to buy the music that they needed for their project or for their purposes, not the music that you just want to make just for you. You need to figure out how to create market differentiation for what you're offering. If you're in a market that has a lot of demand, but it's also saturated, so there's a lot of competition, you need to figure out how to create market differentiation for yourself. What is market differentiation? You need to figure out how to make your stuff stand out against the competition. What makes it different? What makes it better? What makes it more compelling than the other 1,000 producers that do exactly what you do? A lot of music producers don't have any market differentiation. Some people try to create market differentiation from simply pricing mechanisms. And that's why you've seen in this market a whole bunch of producers that sell beats for packages that look crazy to others. 100 beats for $100. That's giving them some market differentiation for sure. Because if most of the beats are $20, we know that's low too. But if most of the beats are $20 and then someone comes to the scene with basically $1 per beat, that's gonna give you market differentiation. Pricing is not the only way to give yourself market differentiation, but I wanted to just throw that out there as an example because I think it is up to you ultimately to figure out what gives your product market differentiation in a field that is saturated with people that do the exact same thing as you. And when you can figure that out, then you need to lean into the market differentiation part and market that as one of the unique selling points. We're talking business now. You need to market what gives you market differentiation. You need to market that as a USP, a unique selling point, and lean into that unique selling point so that people understand the value that you're bringing on your specific skill set. When you do that, then you have an opportunity to actually monetize your business and get clients and get beat sales and whatever else you're trying to do. But you got to figure that out. Look at where there's pain points for the consumer and try to resolve those pain points. And when you can resolve those pain points, then now you got something.